Do you suffer from anxiety in sport? Now, I'm going to be giving you guys some tips on how to lower your anxiety or even get rid of your anxiety as a whole. I am Mona De Lacy. Guys, if you like my videos, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to watch future sports psychology videos.
Oh, you make me wanna talk back to you.
Now, the symptoms of anxiety, especially in a sports setting, could be things like your hands sweating profusely, your body temperature going up, you're feeling a lot of butterflies, your heart rate increases, even things like mentally you cannot remember your movements if you do sports where you have to remember a certain routine. And guys, I'm not saying stress in sport is a bad thing. Often when you stress for something, it could actually, you can use that stress as a positive aspect and actually help increase in performance. And that also just means that you care, you want to do well. You'll probably never go into a sporting event, or it's a very rare person that goes into an event and feel zero stress or zero nerves. Now, anyone can suffer from anxiety. You can be a beginner athlete, an intermediate athlete, or you can even be an elite athlete competing at a top level sporting event and still actually feel a lot of anxiety and a lot of nerves. Now, I've been competing in sport for 20 plus years on the international stage, and I can tell you that even for myself, I still feel nervous. I sometimes feel anxious. That doesn't mean that it always gets the better of me. So the most important thing is, when you actually do feel the anxiousness, is to actually realize what is causing the anxiousness, and then making sure that you lower that anxiety so that it doesn't affect your performance on stage. Now, very often anxiety is actually approval anxiety. Now, what approval anxiety means is that you always want to please everyone around you, and if you feel that you cannot please your coaches, your parents, or even your sponsors, then this causes a lot of anxiety as an athlete. I can testify to this, that in the past I underwent this as well. Like, I would, for example, do my sport and think to myself, I so badly want to impress my father and my coach. And what happened at the end of the day is I ended up not doing it for me, and it caused a lot of anxiety. And if I did compete and the first thing I did wrong, I would often look my father's way, or I would look my coach's way, because I would want their approval to see if I was good enough for them. And this is actually something that can really be detrimental to you as an athlete, because if you do it for other people, very rarely will you get to the top. Now, another type of anxiety you get is your performance anxiety. So basically, you just get super nervous for big events. It doesn't matter what level of event, it's how you perceive it. So you can be an Olympic weightlifter and you really get super anxious when you step on stage for, say, your first attempt. This is something that a lot of weightlifters that I know and that I've worked with in the past has actually come to me with, and they'll often say their first attempt is the attempt that stresses them out the most. And the reason why with Olympic weightlifting is your first attempt is most often your most important attempt, because once you've gotten your first attempt, your number is on the board, which then puts you in contention for either running for a placing or a medal or etc. So yeah, there's different types of performance anxiety. You could be in martial arts, for example, and say you have to do a routine or a kata, and for, say, your first kata, you go in front of hundreds of thousands of people, and as soon as you get there, you might forget a movement or forget a routine. And it doesn't matter how well you've prepared. Sometimes these things just happen. So we'll be talking about how to recognize this and how to actually get you to not get so anxious that again it affects your performance at the end of the day. So let's now talk about the strategies in order to lower your anxiety levels or to actually cut those anxiety levels in a whole. So the first thing you need to do is to enjoy sport. You need to do it for yourself. I can again testify to this, that as an athlete, that when you do it for other people or for the external reward, it does put a whole lot of pressure on you. But when you start doing it for you and you love being on stage as a weightlifter, or you love being on the field as a team athlete, you tend to do so much better because you go there, you have fun, you have confidence, and that makes the world of difference when you are actually competing at any level in sport. Now, another strategy or a technique to lower anxiety level is breathing techniques. Now, what breathing techniques actually does is it lowers your anxiety by lowering your heart rate. So when I spoke in the beginning of my video and I talked about the symptoms of anxiety levels when it increases, is the heart rate. The heart rate increases tremendously, and there's a graph in psychology that talks about getting your anxiety or your arousal levels way too high, which then at the end decreases performance. So you want to make sure that you're nice and calm when you go and compete. Now guys, I've got another YouTube video on relaxation techniques that actually explains how you will actually do the breathing step by step, and the link will be in my description. So like all mental skills, you have to train them. Again, like your physical skills, your mental skills is just as important, sometimes even more important. Now with the breathing techniques, you can't, for example, start doing breathing techniques for the first time at a big event. You need to start doing these techniques in your training to get used to it and to actually understand how it works and how you respond as an athlete, because not every single athlete responds the exact same way. Now your breathing techniques, like I said, it should be practiced in training, but you can do them at any time whenever you feel nervous. Also, a nice way to do it is even at night, if you battle to sleep, to do your breathing techniques to just put you in a nice and deep sleep. And this could even be done the night before a very big event, because I know with the nerves and anxiety levels, you can often the night before stress so much and have so much anxiety that you get zero sleep. And often, you know, as an athlete, sleep is very important as well as your recovery. So you want to make sure that when it's your competition day, you are on top form. And then another way to do it is also to do it right before your event. So as a weightlifter, you can do it, for example, as you start your warm-ups. You can do it just before you step on stage for your very first lift. I know I follow that routine religiously because it's helped me so much to actually get me to step on stage, not feel as nervous, especially when it comes to my first attempt, and just know that I'm calm, I'm collected, I'm in the zone, and I'm ready to perform at my best level. Another technique or strategy that you can use in order to lower your anxiety is visualization. The thing with visualization is you want to imagine or visualize and have the image in your head of how you perform successfully. So a good thing that you can do is, say for example, you are going to be competing in a new arena you've never competed before, maybe against new opponents you've never competed against, and also in front of, say, thousands of people. Now, even if you haven't done it before, it's very good. You can even go and do some research on how the stadium looks, how the environment is, etc. And you can then visualize yourself in that setting, so that when competition day comes, it feels as if you have done it before. And I like saying to myself that when I go and compete, even if it's a very big international event, it's just another training day. And The reason I say that to myself is because I make sure that every single training is quality training, so that when I go and compete in my international competitions, it feels like just another training event. And by doing that and actually visualizing the setting, visualizing all the people, I mean, something that I do as a weightlifter is I actually visualize myself getting that successful lift, the lift that I've been working for however long. I visualize the crowd cheering for me. I visualize the emotion I feel when I've achieved or gotten this lift. And just by having that, when I go into the competition, I feel like I've done it before, and I actually feel excited to step on the platform and to start lifting in front of everyone. Now, another strategy that you can use to lower your anxiety levels is music. Now, every athlete has their own preference in what music they like to listen to that could possibly lower their anxiety levels. Some people will listen to heavy metal or rock. This just like puts them in the zone, makes them happy, makes them ready to lift, makes them forget about everything around them, and just like gets them like all psyched up. Then you get some athletes who will listen to more calm music because they might be feeling like super anxious. So listening to the calmer music actually just helps get their heart rate down. It helps them listen to the tunes or the instruments, and that again will just help them so that when they stop listening to their music, because you can't obviously listen to the music when you're doing your actual sporting event at a competition, just gets them ready. I know what I do as an athlete, again as a weightlifter, when I step on stage and there's no music. I have my certain songs that I love listening to, like puts me into the zone, makes me feel happy, and also makes me feel like I'm back into my training environment. I actually, just before I go on, I listen to that song, and as I step on stage, I keep replaying that song so that I don't overthink my lifting when I go onto the platform. The thing about anxiety is very often you get anxious or super nervous because of the things that are out of your control. Now, once you realize that the things that are out of your control, you don't focus on them. That's when you also start to realize that there's not actually a whole lot to be nervous about, because you have done the work, you are ready. If you start to think negatively, use your self-talk, visualize the setting in a positive way, and focus on the things that you can control as an athlete. And once you start focusing on the things that you can control and know that the things that are out of your control, they might happen. If you do team sport, the weather might be super bad. If you, for instance, do a sport where you have to control your body weight, you might go to an international event, and this has happened to me before as well, where say you have to get your body weight down. All of a sudden you go there and there's no saunas or there's no scales in the hotel to check your body weight. So the things that are in my control, I know that my nutrition needs to be really good so that when I get to my competition, maybe I'm on par with my body weight or have like a few grams that I have to cut down, nothing major, so the body weight doesn't put stress on me, as well as I'll bring my own scale. When I bring my own scale to competitions, I know that, if I can check my body weight, that makes me feel so much more relaxed going into a competition where I know I have to weigh in and my body weight has to be a certain weight. So again, guys, focus on the things that you can control, and this again will lower your anxiety levels, because you'll know that I can control these things. The things that are outside of your control, leave it. Don't focus on it. I mean, every single athlete will be going through the exact same thing, and just know that go out there, do your best, you've done the hard work, and enjoy every moment of it. So guys, if you've liked my video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for future sports psychology videos.